The first thing I need to do is measure the saw. What I'm going to do now is just trace roughly around where the handle goes. I'm just going to use these old bits of pine from my mum's vanity unit when it was stripped out of her bathroom for the bottom half of the frame of the saw clamp. Obviously they're covered in paint, but I'm just going to take that off later. I've already cut this one to size. These two are going to be the front. They're about 11 3/4 inches. So I've just cut that one to size. I've trimmed a piece off this one because it was painted on the edge and I wanted to get that bit nice and cleaned off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place this one on top of the other, mark it out so it's the same, and then cut to size. Next I'm just going to square these rounded off edges up. Okay, so the next step is to cut a rabbet 4 centimeters down and 2 centimeters in. Now I just need to make a mark for the cutout I'm going to make for the support bracket. I'm just going to use this scrap of wood for the brace. I'm just going to plane it off because it's got some rough edges. Now to give this some extra strength, I'm just going to drill down into the support brace and then put a hardwood dowel glued in there. What I've also done on all 4 pieces is just cut a mitre edge off here just to make it look a bit better. You don't have to do that, it's just something I just chose to do. I'm also going to put this piece in here. Like with the front piece, I'm going to cut a rabbet out and I'm going to use this as a brace. I'm also going to put one on the, this is obviously the back, but I'm going to put one on the front as well, just to tie it all in and give it a bit of rigidity to it. So that's what I'm going to do now, is I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Well, this is a dry run in terms of the top put on and the 2 frame pieces put against each other. Obviously it's not finished, but that gives you an idea of what it's going to look like when it's finished. Also, bearing in mind this is actually designed specifically for my clamp because it's the exact width and depth and everything to go onto my bench, so you'd have to alter it to go on your own bench, or you can make one that could probably go on any other bench. You know, at the end of the day, you can clamp. I could clamp this to any other bench if I wanted to. It's just that I've designed it specifically to use within this specific clamp. So next up, we want to attach the top pieces to the framework. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these on, and I'm going to drill in like I did before, and put some dowels into these pieces here. Okay, so it's now a few days later and everything's arrived to finish the project. I've got my lever off of eBay to line the actual clamp section of the clamp. the part I was going to clamp the actual saw, and I've now got the bolts and screw fix to create the clamping motion. Well, don't worry, we're not going to be using all of those, obviously. It's just a good old screw fix you have to buy in bulk. I'll probably end up using them at some point because there's fantastic bolts, but it's one of those places you can only get certain types of bolts and screws and whatnot. So, however, that's the bolt you're going to be using. It's got a nice long shank on it and only a little section of thread, which is what we need. That's actually 150mm long. And I've also got some, out of the picture, tannin solution for the actual lever to give it that old leather tool look. Should be again off eBay, same person I got from the leather from. So yeah, now we're complete to finish up the project. What we're going to do first though, before we start attaching all this sort of bits and bobs, there's this chunk of pine been removed from the top piece here. That actually came off with some, because it was glued to another part. Obviously, because remember, if you remember at the beginning, this was part of an old bed frame, and this had a long piece screwed and glued to it. And as I pulled it off, it took that chunk out. So what I'm going to do is, because I don't want there to be a dip behind the lever, I'm going to actually fill that in with some wood filler. So next we want to do is take our lever, we want to trace around the clamping section of the saw clamp, the actual two top brace sections. Trace around that, excuse me, and then cut that out, and then what we want to do is we want to glue that to the clamp itself. And get it as close to the edges as you can, as to minimise any waste. All you need to do is just use a pencil, a normal pencil to do this. You want to make sure for this that you use a metal ruler. That way you can get a nice straight line. So what I'm going to do now, before I glue these pieces of leather on, I'm going to use some of this antique British tan, antique finished British tan, and basically it's just to give it some colour. So I'm going to wipe that in and then wipe it off like any sort of polish that you'd use for leather, really. Hopefully it should give it a really nice look. And always remember, as I just didn't, you need to wear gloves when working with stain. What it was like? That's what it's like now. See, it's got a nice sheen on it. Now, because the biggest drill bit I've got is actually a 12mm, and the bolts are 12mm, it's made them a little tight, the holes, so I'm just having to run the bolt through with a little ratchet. Now what I'm going to be using for the lever is this contact adhesive. Which is extremely messy and I hate using it. Okay, as you saw earlier, I glued the spacer between the two frame sections. That's actually only going to be glued to the one piece because I want to be able to separate this if need be for any maintenance purposes. Also, I still need to apply a finish. In this case, like most of my shop projects, it's going to be a linseed oil, board linseed oil. So I've still got to do that. But like I say, I'm going to leave it so it's serviceable, so I can take it apart. It's not actually joined as such. As you can see, I've now put the bolts through. These I got from Screwfix, a big bag of them. I think I've shown that already. They've got a huge shank on them, so I've actually had to put. They're a bit longer than I was. I sort of over measured, if you like, overdid it a bit. So I've had to use 4 washers just to space the last bit of the shank for the nut to go on there. Again, the nuts I just got from a selection, like a mix box, sorted nuts. I've got nuts and washers and stuff. I think I've got from Lidl's actually when they've got them on, but you can get them from Screwfix and Machine Mart anywhere like that. They're quite handy to have around, so you know, same with screws or anything like that. Wing nuts. Anyway, so basically I've got this all attached now. So like I say, it's going to be floating on these 2 bolts. It's going to be serviceable by taking it apart. It's now clamped into my bench clamp. So all I have to do now is put the saw in and see if it works, which, to be honest, I've already tested it. I know it does, but I'm just going to show you that it does actually in fact work. So I'm going to just line it up. And because I've not actually got any wing nuts big enough for these bolts, I'm just having to use a spanner just to give that little bit of extra tightness to it, so it holds it in place. Being careful not to over tighten because you don't want to split any of the wood. I will do this. I will get some bigger wing nuts eventually, and that's nice and that's. It's got a little bit of give, and I could tighten it some more if need be, but I don't feel that I should, because just in case, like I said, I don't want to split any other wood in any way, because it's only pine at the end of the day. But that's tough enough. I mean, you're not going to be pushing put loads of pressure on it when you're sharpening it. You're only going to be putting a minimal amount on there, so that's in there enough, and it's been gripped enough by the lever, which obviously acts as a cushion and a grip. So that's it, all done. Okay, so as always, I hope you enjoyed that project. It's quite a nifty one for me this time anyway, because I can actually sharpen my saws now, which I've been wanting to do, especially this one because it's my nan's old one. My nan and granddad gave it to me years ago, and it's an old Spear and Jackson, and I kind of want to get it back to its original sort of state, even though the blade's been quite pitted and stuff, and I've had to get a lot of the surface rust off, but it's still in really good shape. The handle could do with a bit of a varnish, but like I say, it's in really good state still, and there's plenty of years left in it yet. So again, I hope you enjoyed that project, and thank you for watching like always, and please, if you haven't subscribed, please do, and you know, leave a comment or whatever, and please check out my Facebook page, because that'd be fantastic. I want as many likes on there as possible, because it's always nice to have lots and lots of people looking at it, and you know, knowing that people looked at it. And please put your projects on there, because I really do want to see what other people have made, and especially if they made anything that I've made. But also I'd love to hear some of your tips out there. If you've got any great tips on woodworking, or great places to get tools, or what tools are really good, you know, certain tools, cheaper brands that are more affordable than getting the expensive brands, anything to do with tools, woodwork or whatever, even mechanics, you know, I don't really mind any of that sort of stuff really, anything to do with do-it-yourself in a way. So again, thanks for watching, thanks for my subscribers that I've got so far, much appreciated, and had a few comments already so far, so keep them coming. I'm always will answer your comments, or reply to your comments, so until next time, take care.